Hello and welcome to Insights. This is Hari Kumar. The relations between India and Maldives, which have been strained after Mohammad Muisi became the president of Maldives a few months ago, seem to have taken a turn for the worse the other day when three Maldivian ministers fired a volley of charges against Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the social media platform Twitter the other day, that is on January 7. This provoked angry responses from Indians. They trended boycott Maldives on the day. Things didn't end there. By the evening, President Muisi had to suspend the ministers who made wanton and uncalled for attack against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And it has set off a chain of reactions, and India has taken it very seriously. India has summoned the High Commissioner of Maldives and reportedly registered the country's protests against uncalled for and preposterous attacks against the Prime Minister. The attacks of Maldivian ministers came after Mr. Narendra Modi visited the Lakshadweep archipelago, which is the smallest union territory in India, on January 2nd and 3rd. Afterwards, Mr. Modi showered praises on the natural beauty of Lakshadweep, which has serene beaches, azure waters, and beautiful coral reef and a huge wealth of marine life. Mr. Modi also announced that the government is going to develop infrastructure in Lakshadweep in a big way, and he reminded travel buffs that those who love adventure should not miss Lakshadweep from their travel schedule. Primarily, it seems that Maldivian ministers were insecure at the focus of developing Lakshadweep given by President or Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This could be one of the reasons. Prima facie, it seems like that. But there are deeper things involved in this. Let us analyze the reasons for the unprecedented remarks from the Maldivian side. How is it going to affect India-Maldives relations in the coming days? And what would be its impact on the geopolitics of the larger region, which involves India, China, Maldives, and even the maritime trade through Arabian Sea. Let us analyze that. First of all, let us think about the impact of the remarks on tourism sector in Maldives. The fact is that Indians constitute the largest number of foreign tourists who visit Maldives. In 2023, of the 1.7 million foreign tourists who arrived in Maldives, more than 2 lakh were from India, and they were the number one. That was followed by tourists from Russia and then China. So, if Indians, at least a part of Indians, remove Maldives from their schedule, this is going to affect Maldivian economy hugely. The Maldivian economy is actually just a $5 billion economy, which is less than the turnover of many Indian companies. And another important factor is that Maldives is a very costly destination. So if India is going to develop Lakshadweep, many Indian tourists would prefer Lakshadweep because this is not a foreign country. You need not get a visa. Of course, Indians get a free visa in Maldives, but it makes sense to visit Lakshadweep where the cost, daily cost incurred by a tourist is just half of what they need to shell out of their pockets if they choose Maldives. So this could be one of the major worries for Maldives. But there are deeper issues involved. The most important influence on Maldives administered government nowadays is China. And along with India, China has also invested heavily in Maldives. And China, which is known for its wolf warrior diplomacy, that is very aggressive diplomacy, and pushing their interests with all force, might have threatened Maldivian government. Again, China is known for influencing politicians by all possible means, including giving them bribes. And China, which has a tradition of cartographic aggression and testing the resolve of its rivals, might have influenced a few Maldivian politicians to to attack Indian Prime Minister, and China must be testing the response of India. But unfortunately for these politicians, Maldivian politicians who might have been influenced by China, India's reaction was very strong and things might have gone out of their hands and they were forced to resign or they were suspended for the time being. So this is one of the reasons. And another factor is that India-Maldivian relations have been or have taken a downturn after the election of Mohammad Moisi, who ran a campaign India out. Mr. Moisi has declared or has asked India to withdraw a few Indian security personnel who number around 75 or 80 from Maldives Islands. So there is an atmosphere against India, and the policies of the present government is against India. That might have prompted a few politicians to go all out against Narendra Modi. But actually, these politicians might not have realized the impact of their actions. The number one thing is that if India is going to react very strongly, China is not going to help them in any major way. China is not known to send their military or any kinds of assistance to other countries while if they fight India. For example, is Pakistan. During India-Pak wars, China never explicitly or China never intervened or China never opened another war front with India. So China knows it very well that it is going to be foolish. So Maldives people might not have thought over such nuances. So simply they might have responded. It might have been an immature response from Maldivian politicians. And the impact of this is going to be India has already put its foot down, and it seems that India is going to take a very tough stand in the coming days because it is going to develop Lakshadweep by all possible means. Actually, Lakshadweep has to offer similar things as Maldives offer, and the rates are low on the lower side also. So Maldives needs to realize that Maldives needs to align with India or supplement the tourism development in Lakshadweep. Maldives has got several advantages also. compared to Lakshadweep, whose area could be around 32 or 33 square kilometers with 30 or 32 islands. Maldives has got a bigger group of more than 1000 islands and an area of 380 square kilometers. So, by that way, Maldives can offer many more things. But at the same time, Maldives doesn't have deep pockets like India or China. So they need to get capital from some other country, which means the tourism industry or tourism in Maldives will continue to be a costly affair. So it is better for Maldives to cooperate with India and let us and take the attitude of growing together. This is this could be a wise decision from the part of Maldives. Then the another factor is China has already strengthened its presence in the Indian Ocean and it will continue to do so. A Chinese government official, or the Chinese government itself, a couple of years ago made the remark that just because the name of the ocean is Indian Ocean, India should not think that it is their backyard. So China will aggressively push, China will aggressively try to test the resolve of India in the Arabian Sea. And it seems that with Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister, he definitely has got a plan for strengthening India's naval presence in Indian Ocean. And it is likely that Mr. Modi will not go back, will not be on his back foot. India is going to develop the Minikoi airstrip, and a 2,500 a couple of years ago, newspapers had reported that India has a plan to develop a 2,500-meter long airstrip on the island. It means that Indian Air Force, Indian Coast Guard, and commercial flights, big commercial flights, could take off from Minikoi Islands. The present airport in Lakshadweep doesn't have much facilities, and so if India is going to develop the infrastructure of Lakshadweep, this is going to strengthen the presence of Indian security forces in the region, and it is going to be tough for China also. But China will continue to test the resolve of India on many fronts. So this is going to be, the situation is not going to ease, and the best way for Maldives is to keep an equidistant policy from both India and China, considering their own progress or considering their own interests, both strategic as defense as well as economic interests. Maldives is actually facing the threat of global warming, and many reports that appeared in international media have pointed out that many islands of Maldives are facing the threat of submersion. And another aspect Maldives needs to control is the rise of radical Islam in the archipelago. This is going to adversely affect their own interests in the coming days. So it is actually the rise of radical Islam in Maldives over the few years that seems to have ignited a feeling against India in the archipelago. The situation in Maldives is not very peaceful, and at times it has been alarming also. There had been a murder attempt against a former president of Maldives. Again, many natives of Maldives have joined ISIS, and many of them have fought in remote areas like Syria, Afghanistan, and this is not going to help Maldives in any major way, especially when the country is heavily dependent on tourism. Unlike countries in the Middle East which have got oil wealth, Maldives doesn't have that much natural resources. It has to depend on tourism in the coming days also. And there have been many incidents when fundamentalist groups among the security personnel tried to implement Islamic codes on tourists. In 2021, a tourist from United Kingdom she was wearing a bikini, and the security personnel there forced her to wear dresses that which they think is that they think conforms to Sharia laws. So again, there are restrictions for the use of liquor in Maldives, but but of course, tourism resorts and special vessels have the permit for supplying liquor. But if the Islamic fundamentalist groups try to implement Sharia laws and try to put restrictions, Maldives is going to face a tough time. It seems that the sudden rise of anti-India passions and the unprovoked comments of ministers can be traced to many things. It's not simple as a response of a group of people who were afraid or who were feeling secure after India started developing tourism sector in Lakshadweep. So Maldives needs to address their internal issues very quickly and thoroughly. Otherwise, it is going to be a tough time for Maldives, and it could affect the maritime trade also. And I feel that India will be forced to take a tougher stand there in the coming days. This is for now. Meet you with another topic next time. Till then, goodbye.